All right, live and ready to go. Sort of ready to go. Getting my mic all hooked up. Welcome to Wednesday night yoga. I think, Sarah, I just saw you post on Instagram. It's cool, actually, knowing that you'll be here. And then a couple of my buddies are planning to come too. I have some requests to actually do lighter flow, actually. So, not doing the hardcore power flow. And if that's what you're showing up for, if you're showing up for power flow on this same channel, you can scroll back and see last night I did just a straight power yoga sequence. Yes, cleared to do yoga. Whew. Okay, perfect. So yeah, if you're looking for something really fiery and intense, that would be on the channel a couple classes back. Last night was power flow. The class before that was a lot of twisting, so it was pretty, I guess, pretty intense, you could say. And for this flow tonight, I feel like taking it down a notch. So basically, with the framework of a power flow, I'm so glad you guys are back. I keep getting distracted by the chats. I just want to hang out with you. But yes, so if you're looking for a fiery flow, check out any of the other former classes on this page. If you are ready to do a framework of power flow, but more of a modified practice, that's what we're going to be up to tonight. So we'll still do the hour long, but I'll walk you through some other ways to modify, and we'll do some versions of the poses that aren't quite as intense on the body. So I always think that it's important to practice like this, even if you don't necessarily have an injury or you're in recovery or you've got some muscle tightness and soreness. It's just good to practice modifying your yoga so you can see how it feels in those instances. So then when you do come across something that's preventing you from going into like a full expression of the pose, if you don't have yoga blocks, I suggest grabbing a water bottle and a pillow. So I'll be cueing you guys to use some props that will help you kind of get into some poses with a little more depth and a little more relaxation too. So if you have those available, I suggest getting them ready to go. What else do I need to say? My name's Aubrey. If I've never met you in person, welcome to our yoga class tonight. This is going to be modified power flow, so we still will flow pose to pose. I feel like we're ready to get started now. Let's start in child's pose. So child's pose in itself would be a modification for downward facing dog. But for some of us, child's pose can feel like a lot. So if that's the case for you, you can always tuck your toes under and not push back quite so far. So right here, since we're taking it a little bit slower flow tonight, let your forearms rest on the floor. Take a couple deep breaths in and out. And if there's really one thing to focus on and make your intention, it would be breath tonight. So even if you're feeling a little lost on the poses, if you are breathing, then you are doing everything just as you should. So trust yourself. Focus on deep inhales and exhales. Breathe in one more time. Press up to a tabletop position. We will warm up the back with some cow pose and cat pose. So for cow, inhale, lift your chest, reach your gaze up. And then on the exhale, move to cat. So push your shoulder blades up, squeeze your belly nice and tight, and then move through again. Cow on your inhale, let your belly drop. Cat on your exhale, press up. Inhale for cow. If you're moving at a different pace, that's perfect. Just go with your own flow of breath. We'll do one more cycle. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And now to downward facing dog, or you can remain in tabletop. So down dog here, stretch your fingers out really wide. And to make down dog more intense, you would walk your feet further back so your heels have some space to go before they touch the floor. To lessen the intensity, walk your feet forward. And I say lessen the intensity, it's really just about lessening it for your core here. So now take a moment for deep breaths. If it feels good to pedal your feet, please do. Gently walk your toes all the way up to meet your hands. Grab opposite elbows for ragdoll pose. Let your head hang nice and low. Check in with your neck here and see if you're holding on to tension. You can sway your head side to side. Just let that shake out. Let go of your elbows. Take an exhale. Extended mountain pose. Take a deep breath in, reach up. Press your hands together, take them to heart center. And we will officially start our practice today with one chant of Om. Breathe out first. Take a deep inhale. All right, let's move through our modified sun salutation A. So I'll walk you through step by step. Extended mountain pose comes first. Take a deep breath in, reach up high. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift. You can use your hands on your shins or your thighs. We're gonna stay here for a round of breath. So focus on drawing your shoulders in, reaching your heart forward. Breathe in one more time. Exhale, fold. Now with the breath, inhale, halfway lift again. Exhale, bow. Last round, inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands on the floor, step back for a tabletop position. Take an inhale for cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Press back, downward facing dog. So essentially those are replacing your chaturanga, up dog, down dog. If you're feeling like you need that extra fire, you can do that instead of the cat cow. It's really up to you, but I'm cueing to mods. So here we go. Lift your heels. Bend your knees. Walk to the top of your mat unless you prefer jumping. Lift halfway, take a deep breath. Forward fold, let the breath go. Extended mountain, sweep up high. Forward fold, sweep down low. Just focus on breathing deep. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands down, step back, tabletop. Inhale for your cow. Exhale, cat. Pull your shoulder blades apart. Downward facing dog, all the way back. We'll go a couple more rounds just like that. Lift up to your tippy toes. Bend your knees, walk or hop forward. Halfway lift, take an inhale. Forward fold, let your head drop. Extended mountain pose, breathe in. Forward fold, breathe out. Halfway up, push your chest forward, really stretch it out. Step into your table. Breathe in for cow, let your chest open up. Cat pose, press up, squeeze your belly tight. Downward facing dog. So we'll do one more round of sun A and change the modification here. Lift your heels, bend your knees, hop or walk forward. Halfway lift, inhale deeply. Forward fold, let the breath flow out. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, fold down. Halfway lift, full breath, full extension. Step back into plank pose with your knees on the ground. So you're still in a plank-ish position. So your belly pulled in tight. We're gonna do a modified chaturanga here. So keep your knees down, move your chest forward, bend your elbows, low push-up. Now let your belly drop all the way to the floor. Put the tops of your feet down. Just your hands push your chest up. This is called cobra pose. So while you're pushing your chest up, squeeze the mat with your hands and draw your palms towards your hips. You're gonna feel your elbows and shoulders squeeze together. Take one more breath. Lay down. 2 more times. Inhale for cobra. Let your belly squeeze too. Exhale, head down. Final time. Inhale for cobra. Press into the floor. Push yourself into a tabletop position. Curl your toes under. Downward facing dog. Take your right foot. Step it forward for warrior one. Take your time getting there. So if you're modifying warrior one, you can scoot your feet a little closer together so your stance doesn't have to go quite as wide. For now, focus on hip rotation. So turn your left hip forward, pull your right hip back, and create extension through your arms here. Breathe in. Stay here, breathe out. Another inhale. If it feels good, you can lean back. Take your hands down to the floor. Step back for your modified plank on your knees. Lower down, chaturanga. You can do the full out if you want to. Lay down, inhale, cobra, chest up. Exhale, table. All the way to your downward facing dog. Let's do warrior one, other side. Step forward with your left foot. So make your stance nice and firm. Adjust so your hip bones face almost the same direction. As long as you're feeling a stretch through your back leg, that's all good. We'll stay here and breathe a couple rounds. So remember, the biggest intention you got is really about breathing. This pose is pretty safe, so I trust your alignment. We'll breathe in one more time. As you exhale, take your hands down, step back for your low plank, bend your elbows, lay down on the floor, inhale for your cobra, exhale, table, downward facing dog. Lift your heels up high, bend your knees down low, walk or jump to the top. Halfway lift, full breath. Forward fold, let the breath flow out. Inhale for your chair pose. We won't be here for too long. To modify, you just wouldn't sit down as low, but I invite you to go to whatever depth feels good or feels like an edge for you. So you're in charge here. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift your chest halfway up. Slide your left foot back. Low lunge. So for a low lunge, you keep your fingertips on the floor. If you've got some blocks handy and you want a little extra elevation for your chest, you can totally do that. Let's move to a little twist. Take your right arm up to the ceiling. Breathe in. Stay for the breath out. This is a lot. You can always take your back knee down. Breathe in. Take your hand down, step back for your table. Come through to your low push-up, modified or not. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, table to downward facing dog. Lift your heels up. Take your knees down low. Walk or jump to meet your hands. Halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Chair pose, breathe in. Stay for the breath out. Really focus on drawing your inhales and lengthening your exhales. One more breath. Forward fold, let it go. Halfway up, breathe in. Take your right foot back behind you, low lunge. So if you need to scoot your back foot further back, if you have some more room to go, definitely go for it. Next comes the twist. Take your left arm, reach it up high. Option to take your right knee on the floor if you need it. Inhale deeply. Stay for the breath out. Keep your belly hugging and nice and firm. One more breath. Place your hand down, step it back. So you can come through your chaturanga or you can do your cat-cow. Breathe in, chest goes up. Breathe out all the way back, downward facing dog. One more time, lift your heels. Bend your knees, breathe out all your air, walk or jump to the top. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. This time, fold right away, breathe out. Inhale, halfway lift. Take your left foot back, low lunge, exhale. Inhale for the twist. Exhale, hand down, step back, do your own flow. Through the exhale, inhale, up dog or cobra or cow. Downward facing dog, press yourself back. Take your heels to the sky. Bend your knees down low. Travel to meet your hands at the top, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it out. Inhale for chair pose, one breath in it. Exhale, bow forward. Halfway up. Right foot back, low lunge. Inhale for the twist, left arm up high. Step it back as you exhale, chaturanga or your cat-cow flow. Up dog or cobra. All the way back through, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, warrior one. So you decide your depth here. Decide how deep you want the stretch to go by scooting your feet further forward and back. If you feel stable through your feet, awesome. That's really all we're looking for. Now focus on breathing. Take an inhale. Warrior two, exhale. So now we'll do a little bit of flow here. Inhale, reverse triangle. Take your right arm up and overhead. Let your front knee straighten. Come back to warrior two, exhale. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale, warrior two. One more time, inhale, reverse triangle. Back to warrior two. This time just flow all the way through extended side angle. So now your left arm goes over your ear. Your right arm can go to your thigh. Take an inhale. Place your hands down, low lunge. We've been here before. Low lunge, now for the twist. Right arm up high. Inhale. Step it back, chaturanga, your modification if you choose. Up dog or cobra pose. Take it all the way to the back, downward facing dog. Switch legs, warrior one with your left foot forward. So get stable first. And then once you're set, focus on inhales and exhales. That is yoga too. It's not about just achieving the pose. There's so many other components, so you can succeed no matter what. Warrior two, open to the side. And now we flow. Inhale, reverse triangle. Exhale, settle back in, warrior two. Inhale for your reverse. Exhale, rebend. Inhale, reach it back, straighten your left knee. Warrior two, flowing into your side angle lunge. This feels like some Tai Chi vibes right now. So here, put a little more effort into your right foot. While you're reaching, you're also rotating. So pull your top shoulder back behind you. Inhale. Take your right hand down, left hand down. Pivot your heel so it lifts, so you're in the lunge again. Twist open to the left side. Next time you breathe out, you take your left hand down and we do our flow. Chaturanga modification. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot to the top of your mat. Take your left knee down on the floor. Low crescent lunge. So for my low crescent lunge, I like to keep my back toes under. It helps me to create some more stability underneath my back foot. It's totally up to you. This can be a really awesome stretch as well. If you turn your tailbone, aim it down towards the floor, lift the front of your pelvis up. Breathe in right here. Open twist to the right. So you're turning your torso across your body, facing the right side of your mat. Inhale, reverse this. So now your left arm goes up, right hand goes down your back leg. And then we reverse that flow back to your open twist. Inhale your low crescent. Hands down, come into a tabletop. We'll reset with cat pose and cow. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Downward facing dog. And we'll do low crescent lunge with your left leg forward. So your right knee lowers down. This is a good place if you need some extra support underneath your bottom knee to grab that towel or pillow, something to assist you. The other thing that I've learned is just by taking my knee back a little bit further, if I'm pressing just above my kneecap, I feel a little bit more comfortable. So depending on what you've got going on, adjust as you need to. It's about exploration. Let's move to our twist. Inhale, reach a little higher. On your exhale, open twist to the left side. Inhale here. Stay for the exhale. Come back where you came from. Oh, actually, yeah, take your reverse. Top arm goes up and over. And then reset back to your open twist. Inhale, arms and whole torso faces forward, low crescent. Plant your hands, take your knee back. Inhale for your cow pose, pull your shoulders in, belly drops. Cat pose, dome your upper back. Release that, downward facing dog. Slow motion, walk your feet to the top of your mat. This is a time still to focus on breathing. It's definitely not a race to get to the end of the pose. So take your time. Once you get to the top, bend your knees however much you want and hook your big toes with your peace fingers. Let your head drop down. So even here, it seems like there's a lot of roundness that can occur in your back. If you focus on shoulders in and turning your tailbone up towards the ceiling rather than letting it round, you can find a lot of length through your hamstrings and some more stability through your back. So no matter what pose you're doing, if you've got your shoulders hugging in, it's usually a great way to help your posture and just your spinal health in general. Let go of your toes and then step back, tabletop position. Take an inhale for cow. Exhale, cat. Downward facing dog all the way back. This time your hands go back to your feet. So same mindfulness. Walk your hands to the back of your mat. Once you're at the back, bend your knees so your hands can go underneath your feet for gorilla pose. Once you've got it, let your head relax. Again, breath is the focus right now. Even if you're feeling a big stretch through the backs of your legs, put more attention on how it feels to breathe. Exhale out. Let your hands come out and then walk yourself out to a plank position. So you decide if you want to modify. Knees can be on the floor. Inhale, shift forward for your chaturanga. Up dog or cobra, let your heart open. Tabletop to down dog. Lift your heels up. Bend your knees nice and low. Walk or jump to meet your hands. Take a halfway lift, breathe in. Bow forward, breathe out. Sweep your arms up to the ceiling, mountain pose. And we'll go for eagle pose. Bend your knees slightly, wrap your right leg on top, right elbow underneath. If you're modifying your eagle, you can also grab your shoulders like you're giving yourself a hug. I love this modification because it just feels nice. No matter which one you're doing, draw your elbows up off of your chest. Again, breath is the key here. On your inhale, reach up, mountain pose. Soft bend in your knees, eagle on the second side. So breath is a huge component. Since we're also doing balancing practice right now, I invite you to be really intentional about where you put your eyes. So the more steady your eyes are, the more it helps you to steady your body and your thoughts. Breathe out. Inhale, extended mountain. This is where the props will come in handy. So if you've got them, bring them up to the front of your mat. Have them ready just about maybe 6 inches in front of your feet and kind of off to the side. I'll show you what those are for in a moment. So let's do a mountain pose to reset. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift with your hands on the blocks if you've got them. We're going to airplane pose from here. So your right leg goes up behind you, or left leg if you prefer to start there. So you're using the blocks to help you elevate your chest. So rather than dipping down, even if you're using the floor underneath you, use it to press forward with your heart. Shoulders in. Take a deep breath. Bend your front knee a little bit till you step back for a pyramid pose. You can keep your fingertips on the floor or the block. This is to put a little bit of pressure off just that one foot for right now. On your next breath in, we're going to come back where we came from. So back to your modified airplane. Keep your left hand down, rotate open for half moon. So your right arm comes and reaches up. Your top leg can go as far as it feels comfortable. And if it feels too comfortable, take it up a little higher. You do want some depth, even if you're going easy tonight. We're going to go back where we started. Take your hands back to the blocks, back to your airplane. Take a deep breath. Sweep your right foot forward to meet your left. Let yourself fold over. On your inhale, mountain pose, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Now take your other foot back behind you, modified airplane. So while you're doing this, notice the angle of your back foot. If your toes are turning out to the side, adjust. So you're trying to get your hip bone square. So pinky toe turns down towards the floor. That will help you maintain that squareness. On your exhale, light bend in your front knee. Step back for a pyramid. Fully exhale. Rebend your front leg. Kick it up and back. Airplane pose. And now we rotate over to the side, half moon. So now left arm goes up towards the sky. I'm gonna keep breathing here for a little bit longer. Go for a new edge. Take your left hand, or whichever hand was lifted, back to your modified airplane. On your exhale, step down to the floor. Extended mountain pose, reach up. Take your hands to your heart. We'll do a tree pose. So place your right foot up against your left leg somewhere stable. So as long as it's not on your knee, that's perfect. So you do have options. If you want an extra stretch, you can take your right ankle over your left thigh with just a little bit of a bend in your standing leg. If you are breathing right now, you are doing yoga. So it's not about necessarily holding your balance the whole time. It's about coming back to your point of focus. If you are doing the variation, the figure 4 with your ankle over the top, you could also start hinging forward until your hands reach the floor or the blocks. If you're standing upright in your tree, that's cool too. Be mindful about where you're looking and focus on your breathing, even if you're falling over. If you chose to fold, now is the time to come back up to stand. Reset both feet on the floor. Extended mountain. Take your arms up high. Press your palms together. Take them to your heart. One more side, tree pose. Whichever style you did on the first side, unless your body's calling for something else on side 2. Mine might be asking for something a little different. Pick your gaze point, stay committed to that. And if you're focused more on how you're being than how you're doing the poses, what would change? So if you're expressing with focus, you're breathing deeply, you're just being your yoga instead of doing yoga, there's a whole nother dimension of the practice. If you want to, you've got the figure 4, you can take your fingers down. If not, then don't worry about that. Just stay in the position you're in with your inhales and exhales, slow and deep. My friends who are folding, it's time to stand back up. Everyone hands together in front of you. Place your lifted foot on the floor. We'll do a modified flow for our next section. Mountain pose, inhale up. Feel the breath flow out, forward fold. Halfway lift. If You've got the blocks or the props, use your hands underneath. Take your left foot back, pyramid pose. So now if you've got the blocks, you can use them, start walking them towards your back foot. If you don't have the blocks, you can also grab your leg instead if you're not feeling like the floor is accessible to you. That's all good. We'll take a halfway lift in your chest. Another good place for the blocks. Inhale. Step forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Take your other foot back, pyramid pose. So this is a pretty big one for the hamstrings. You'll kind of know where your back foot needs to stop. You should feel it firmly pressed through all four corners. So if your heel is kind of popping up, you might scoot your back foot up just a little bit. If it feels like you're not feeling too much, you can scoot your back foot back. You decide. Halfway lift with your heart forward. Take a big step up, bow down, exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Now your left foot goes back again. Take it back for a low lunge. So you can scoot the blocks out of the way if you've got those. Take a second to shift forward and back. We're setting up for triangle from here. So pivot your back foot, place it all the way flat. Unbend your front leg, reach your arms wide apart, triangle pose. So you can use your hand against your leg to prop up. I do suggest being more lifted than anything else. So if you're dipping down towards the floor, it might put some pressure on your back. So give yourself some space here. Use what you got. Breathe out. Lift yourself up. Turn your feet towards the left side of your mat, side facing, wide-legged forward fold. So you can hinge over, and you've got some options here. If you do have props, this is one of my favorite things to do. I'll actually reach my hands forward like it's a downward facing dog. Let my shoulders open towards the floor. If you're like, no, that's not for me, or I don't have those tools available, you can use your hands on your legs somewhere and pull down. Walk them underneath you, or grab onto your big toes. Keep your knees a little bit soft. Remember, shoulders in, so think about lengthening and straightening out your spine. Breathe out all your air. Keep your belly firm as you come all the way up to standing. Turn your feet forward. Take a big step to the top. Mountain pose. Inhale. Bow forward. Exhale. Halfway up. Now your right foot goes back. Low lunge. So take a second to shift. Get your back foot as far as you can. This is going to be helpful for your triangle setup because you can make a pretty big basin triangle. Angle your back foot towards the right side of your mat. Press into both feet. Straighten your front leg, triangle pose. Stay here for one more exhale. On your inhale, lift up. One more side facing, wide-legged folds. Hinge towards the ground. You pick whatever arms you feel like doing. For me right now, I feel like binding my hands behind my back. So You decide what feels right for your body. Again, the focus is on breathing. So if you're in any position where you're finding it challenging to breathe, you can come out for a second, recalibrate, catch your breath, slow it down. Breathe in, come all the way up. Angle your feet to the front, take a big step, extended mountain, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale deeply. Step back to tabletop position. Inhale for cow pose, lift your heart. Exhale, cat pose, squeeze your belly firm. Come to a neutral plank position. On your knees or not, you decide. On your breath out, go for a low push-up. Keep your elbows close to your body. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, lay down. So belly to the floor, one cheek on the mat. You can open your mouth to let some air flow out. Turn your face to the other side. So we're gonna move through some heart opening poses a little bit more gently one at a time. So here we go. We'll start with Cobra where we've been before. So have your hands next to your ribs. On your breath in, press into your palms. Squeeze your belly tight too. So even though your legs aren't coming up, you're really focusing on hugging in through your center. If you want to do full-on locust, the Superman, you can totally do that. For now, we're in Cobra. Your adjustments here are what matter. 3. Deep breaths. 2. One more inhale. Exhale, release. Now take your hands out in front of you. We're moving to Sphinx pose. So this is slightly more intense than Cobra. So now your heart is lifted, forearms flat on the ground. Same idea as what you do in Cobra, but now it's your elbows that pull into the mat towards your hips. So really hug in here, shoulders back, chest up. And your feet are firm against the floor here. You can even press into the mat to help you lift a little more. Exhale, release. If at any point that's too much, you can always go back to Cobra. We're going for one more deeper variation. So this is seal pose. Take your hands to the corners of your mat. So you can start in Sphinx to see how that feels. Then angle your hands out slightly, press into your palms, lift your heart away from the floor. Your legs are still on the ground. So if you feel any pressure in your low back, go back to Sphinx. Or you can focus on turning your tailbone down, squeezing your core tight. We are still here working at 5. You can squeeze your glutes 2, 4, 3, deep breaths, 2, 1, release. Take your arms out to the left and the right. Bend your right knee behind you. Take it all the way across your back here. A little twist. Come back through, both feet close together. And then your left knee bends. Take your left foot over and across. This is a twist and a nice shoulder opener. And back to center. Cobra pose or up dog. So one more from the floor. Lift yourself up. Take yourself to a table. Now's the time to come into a bridge pose. Lazy bridge. So if you have something firm, you can even use a stack of books as a prop, honestly. But you want to go for your bridge to where something is stabilizing your sacrum here. So whether it's the block or a pillow here, We're going for a passive hip flexor opener and heart opener. So if you like the fiery variation, you can also hold your bridge just by lifting up away from the ground. There's always ways to make it more intense and ways to make it less intense. So you can experiment with these poses as long as you have the basics, like feet nice and steady. You have your shoulders firm, your neck with no pressure. Adjust as needed. I think that's one of the coolest parts about yoga is that you can still take a class even when you're feeling a lot going on in your body, and you can learn a lot about yourself when you practice adjusting. So rather than trying to force, just get a little creative and see what happens. So if you've been holding the strong version of the bridge without the prop, props to you. I know that's a long time to hold. You can stop at any time. We're going to be here for about 3 more breaths. My friends who really want to pop into wheel, this would be the time. On your exhale, remove your prop if you've got one. Take a butterfly pose. Let your knees open up. Recommit to your breath here. Bend your knees for happy baby. You can grab your feet or somewhere lower on your legs. Give yourself a low back massage. Let go of your legs and then rock yourself up and down a couple of times, forward and back. Make your way into a plank position, modified or not. This is going to be your core work today. So since it's a full body experience, this plank pose stuff, it's always good for you. So you can do knees down, forearms down. You can stay with just your hands on. We'll stay and breathe. The more you use your legs, the longer you can hold this position. So really activate hug muscle to bone. Take a breath in. Drop your knees if you haven't yet. Take your modified chaturanga if you're going modified. Inhale for cobra. Exhale, table. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Back to your table position. Take a big step up with your right foot. We're going back to our low crescents. So starting here, arms up to the sky. Press firmly through your front foot and create the action of dragging your heel towards your hips. You're gonna feel it stretch your legs deeper and create some more stability here. Now take your hands down to frame your front leg. Straighten your front leg out. This is a half split. So if you've got the props available, there are lots of ways you can use these. If you want to stay right where you are with your hands helping you out on the sides, that's awesome. If you've got the pillows or the blocks or the water bottles handy, you can use them underneath your hands. Or if you're a little bit closer to the ground or you feel like that prop is adjustable, you can actually take your hip of your straightened leg and rest it there. So for me, my front leg doesn't really want to go all the way straight today. That's okay. Honestly, if you're feeling a stretch happening, that's really all you're looking for. If it doesn't feel pinchy, for me, my knees are just a little bit sensitive today, so I'm trying not to go too far extended. Notice what's going on with your back. If you're rounding like cat, create some cow positioning, shoulders back. Reposition so your front foot goes flat. Step back into your table. Inhale for cow. Exhale, cat. And now your left foot goes forward. Low crescent. Again, for me, I like to have my back toes tucked under, arms to the sky. Grip the mat with your front heel. Drag it towards your hip bones. Really squeeze the earth. Take your hands down. Frame your left leg now. Let it straighten out, and you have some options. You could try to sit back towards your heel, or you could keep scooting your knee further back. So you decide what works best for you. Once you've got your legs in a position that works, come back to breathing. I know myself, when I practice yoga, I sometimes have this experience of my ego wanting to push really hard in certain poses, or if I just can't achieve something in class that day, it can be hard to kind of let it go. But what I tell students all the time is that yoga is not a race. It's not something to be perfected. We're just constantly practicing. So give yourself a little grace, like be kind to yourself. This whole experience isn't about achievement. It's more about just focus, discipline, doing your best, which is why I always come back to breath, because that's something you always have with you. Let's come back to low crescent. So front foot goes flat. Reset for your tabletop position. One last round of cow and cat. Inhale, cow, drop your belly, lift your chest. Exhale for your cat. Press to downward facing dog. And then we'll set up on your back. So go ahead and walk or jump through. Lay down all the way. Let your legs invert. This is waterfall pose. Then take your right ankle across your left thigh. So this is the figure 4 position right here. You can take your hands, reach through this hole you just made, this triangle you just made, reach back and grab the back of your left leg. You can continue to draw your left leg closer to you while pressing your right knee away. It will be a spot where you definitely feel the stretch. It may not have to be a whole lot that gets you there. And if you don't really feel much at all, you can move to a different variation where you cradle your front shin. Cradle your shin with your knee in the pocket of your right elbow and your foot in the pocket of your left elbow. You can have your right or your left foot planted down flat or extended out long on the mat. So these are all just options for you to experiment with. If you moved away from the figure 4 shape, now's the time to come back. Keep your right foot on top. Take your arms to a T and turn your knees over to the right side. This is a supine twist variation. Your top foot is basically your assistant. So your top foot is helping you draw your left knee down towards the floor. It's creating a little bit of traction here. And you can move your gaze over your left shoulder. Unwind, come back to center. You can move through waterfall on your way to the other figure 4. This is another variation of half pigeon. So if you ever take a class where half pigeon is called and you don't feel like you've got the access to put your whole body weight onto your legs, this is a great way to still create the same stretch. So you can grab the back of your right leg now. Use your breath to slow down. Every time you exhale, imagine your muscles are softening and lengthening, creating more space. You can experiment with a different variation here if you have some more stretch to give. Cool. If not, stay where you are. Slow inhales and deep exhales. If you changed positions, come back to your figure four. Turn your knees over to the left edge of your mat now. Supine twist. Take your arms to a T shape. Use your left ankle to draw your right knee down towards the ground. And you're just creating the action. Your knee might not touch the ground. Mine's certainly not. But I'm feeling the twist, so that's all that really matters. Unwind your body back to center. Waterfall position. Take your feet to touch, knees apart, butterfly pose. So one little setup point for your Shavasana tonight. If you do have a pillow, I'll simulate it with my blocks here. You can take a pillow underneath your shoulder blades. Basically have your upper back resting on the pillow. You'll find the spot where it works for you. So this is really just helping you to open up across the front of your chest. This is so good for your posture. And then you still have your head underneath a different pillow or underneath the same one. Let your arms rest wherever they feel okay. So it's possible that the further up you go, the more intense stretch you might feel. If you've got two yoga blocks, you can use them the way that I'm using them, which is just underneath my scapula and then right underneath my head. If none of those are available, you can certainly go into your standard corpse pose where everything's flat against the floor. And if you like to keep butterfly legs for just an extra hip opener, you are always welcome. We'll take a cleansing breath before we officially rest here. Inhale deeply. Open your mouth to exhale. We'll spend the next couple of minutes in rest. Allow yourself to fully embrace this resting position. Especially if you're tempted to move, my invitation is to take 3 slow breaths before making any movements. So the focus, even while you're resting, is on your breath. Now it's soft and slow. You want the breath to flow so softly and so lightly, almost like there's a feather in front of your nose and you're trying not to disturb it. a little moment longer. Stay in your rest. Take your awareness on your breathing and focus on pulling in more air. Let your belly expand and your lungs expand. When you exhale, you can open your mouth, let your jaw release. Wiggle your toes and fingers. If you're all propped up, it's up to you if you want to create a full body stretch or if you just want to roll onto your right side for infant's pose. Take any little movements you need to come out of your corpse pose and onto your side. Come up to a seated position. Press your palms lightly together in front of your heart. And we will seal our practice just like we started with one chant of Om. Exhale first. Take a breath. Your thumbs up to your third eye, right between your eyebrows. Thank you for sharing this time with me, for taking time for yourself. The light in me sees, honors, and loves the light in each of you. Namaste. I feel like I could go right back into that resting pose. The good news is, since you are practicing at home, you can always go do that. So if you're feeling really in a restful state right now, I invite you to go somewhere, just be in this space of chill. I think that's one of the great things. There are a lot of things I love about yoga, but just this kind of open feeling, this space, take that with you. Like I was saying in class, it's not just about completing poses and being done, like achieving the poses. It's more about how you do the things. So I hope this facilitated in something for you, so helped you with either a stressful day or just getting your body moving around a little bit. If you have any questions, I'll leave the chat open for just a few seconds longer. Thank you so much for tuning in. The next official yoga class will be back on Monday at 7:30 p.m. So come check it out. Like I said, we're storing all of our past classes on the channel. So if you have a certain thing you're looking for, you might be able to find it. You're welcome, Sarah. I'm so glad you could make it. Thank you for coming. And Shannon and the girls, imagine I'm hugging you guys right now because I miss you all. Take care of yourselves. If you need any support at all, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you out. Check the CJJF app for all those little videos. Yeah, I'll see y'all soon, I hope. Take care. Be well. See you next time.